Dr. Meredith Watson, the unapologetic therapist, creator of the Phoenix Therapy Method, founder of the MACSJC Foundation. I wanted to come on a hate live. I'm working on it, but I do hate it. Mostly because I'm always worried about my lighting, but you know what? If you're listening to what I'm saying and you can see this beautiful face, you'll be fine. Anyways, I wanted to take you through this journey, and I want you to kind of follow me in it. A lot of people, they don't I used to have a huge problem with forgiveness. I thought that if I forgave the person, then that would just be saying what they did was okay. Then I did more work around that, and I realized, excuse me, it wasn't about really needing to forgive anybody else. I had to forgive myself for getting myself into the situation or falling prey to the situation or letting it go on for as long as it did or allowing my deeper desire and deeper addictions to keep me stuck in that position. So once I accepted that, I was able to kind of forgive myself. So I did this kind of affirmation, this kind of meditation, and I thought I would share it and follow through with a couple other things. But it's basically because I love you, insert your name. For me, it's because I love you, Meredith. I forgive you. You did what at the time you thought was best. Hindsight's 2020. Do what's best for you now. Run for your dreams and tell anyone not serving you or supporting you to fuck off. Probably not the most meditative meditation, but when you get into it, sometimes the person you need to forgive most is yourself. Even if at the time, which most likely was the best thing you could do, you were most likely in survival, flight or fight mode, and at the time it seemed like a logical step to take. And the other thing that helped me to move through it was you can't know what you don't know. What I know now is maybe not what I knew 10, 15 years ago. I can't blame myself for not having that information. It took me from then till now to get that information and process it and perceive it in the way that would be beneficial. You can't blame yourself for making a decision with information you had then versus information you have now, and judging yourself for not knowing what you didn't know before you knew it. It's unfair to yourself. And like I already told you who I was, what I do with my clients is I truly support people in a way that helps them to really help them to understand and do more than tolerate through life. Basically what we do is we look at and understand the causal relationship between your mind and your thoughts and the patterns within that and how it impacts your immune system and your life and your pain. I have found through research, my own personal life, working with patients, that pain is a manifestation of unresolved emotions and trauma. Once you resolve that and rise above it and work through it, oftentimes you can resolve and rise above the pain, whatever that pain is, physical, mental, emotional, grief, addiction, any type of pain, even if it's your inability or lack or not ability yet to create wealth. Everything has its root cause into something else. It's just about working through that and figuring out exactly what the root of it is. And I love working with people when they're ready. But even when they're scared, because sometimes it's not about you're really scared that it's going to get better, you are sometimes consciously, unconsciously, you're wondering what life would be like without the pain. What would life be like without the drama and the chase or whatever's plaguing your life? You know that life. You're comfortable there. You know exactly what to expect. But when you take that out of the equation, sometimes you're scared shitless. You have no idea what life is going to be like and you're scared. And I know what that feels like because I was the last person to leave my marriage. I love my husband very much, but it was not all him. It was part, in fact, I'm not the marrying kind. But to leave what I had always been told is a concrete thing you stay in, you fight it, you keep pushing and you keep toiling and you stick to it because you took a vow and you made a promise before God and everybody. I don't think that the creator and the source that I serve cares. I think I'm more important and my well-being and my mental health is more important. And I really truly believe that. I mean, once again, it's about making a decision and then later getting new evidence. If you've ever done any type of scientific experiment, you make a guess, you make a hypothesis, you make educated guess, but you have to collect data and research that to see what the end's going to be and what the outcome's going to be. It may not be what you thought it was going to be, but you can't blame yourself and keep, punishing yourself for having new information and wanting to make a decision based on that new information. And I always tell people, I've been saying this since I was younger, mass murderers get out of jail on good behavior, and they took a life. Some people never pay for the crimes that they commit. Some people hurt and maim and molest and rape people, and they get out of jail and live their life. It may not ever be the normal life they had before normal, but if people who do these grave injustices to people can get freed and absolved and moved past it, I sure as hell can deserve at least that much. But anyway, I work with people when they're ready to dig in and invest in themselves and ready to do the work. It's not always pretty, but you can overcome and rise above whatever pain that's plaguing your life. I know that it's possible because I personally did this journey myself, working through the mind and the thoughts and the patterns and how it affected my immune system, how it affected my pain, my life, my stress, my anxiety. I had 2 heart attacks in 16 months. And that was not a pretty trip at all whatsoever. But I did it. I totally did it. And I'm really, really proud of working through that and moving through that. There's this movie, and I'm going to put the clip of it in the comments, but the movie's called Closer. And it's with Jude Law and Natalie Portman and Julia Roberts and another character that I don't know his name. But the movie is basically about these 4 people. They intermingle, they intertwine with each other, and they end up having relations with each other of different sorts, mostly marrying and dating and sleeping together. But there's one scene, the one that's in the comments, it's my favorite scene. It's kind of dramatic, but it's my favorite because one of my favorites, actually probably the favorite. It's because it seems to portray what I do. And I take my clients through the situation of whatever's plaguing their life. We dig into it, whatever the issue, the pain is, and it may not be fun and it may not be pretty, and I certainly don't yell at my clients the way this guy is yelling at this woman in this clip. But you do have to get down with it. You do have to excavate. You do have to pull through and work through. And while that's being done, I am with you holding space with prepared this container and allowing space to attack this thing that's plaguing your life and deal with it and resolve it and rise above it. And once you get to the root of whatever pain you're dealing with, addiction, grief, wealth creation, not having the wealth or the life that you want, you can work from there and kind of reverse engineer. And that's exactly what it is. You figure out what you want to do and how you want to get there, and you craft a plan and you reverse engineer. And like I was telling you earlier, one of the many things I had to work through is one day I found myself sitting on the floor having a heart attack in front of my daughter. She to this day doesn't know that's what was happening, but my cardiologist and I had zero understanding or clue as to why at that point in my life I was having 2 heart attacks within 18 months. It was actually within 16 months. I wasn't predisposed, wasn't predetermined. I was healthy, I was active, I was doing the things. I didn't have a genetic predisposed code for it. So why was this happening to me? And when I looked at what was going on around my life, in my life, around that time, I could easily pinpoint what actions I needed to take. I needed to resolve the emotional trauma I'd been suppressing. It took me a long time to address that and own it and cultivate the space to do it. But once I did it, I was so glad to do it and rise above it over time. It wasn't always fun, but it was necessary. And I'm a lot better. I'm not who I was 3 years ago. I'm not who I was a year ago. I'm not who I was at the beginning of this year. I'm not who I was last week because I continue to do the work and I continue to grow and evolve because I want to get better and I want to teach my daughter what's possible. 99.9% of what I do is so that I can teach her that you don't have to stay in a position or in a situation that no longer serves you. There's nothing, in my opinion, that's noble about staying in a position or a situation that is no longer serving you. Like, what are you trying to prove and to whom? It's way more important to live a happy life, and I want to teach her that happiness overall. Choose joy every time, every single time, every single time. And I'm more alive now. I have my bad days, and they come just like everybody else's, but there's a way that I'm able to pick up and regenerate and rejuvenate myself in those moments. It's about doing the work. And it's a lot about being cognizant of what I need to do and when I need to pivot and when I need to go deep and do the work, because the longer I pretend it's not, needing to be done, the longer I put it off, the longer it puts me into this cave of darkness and the harder it is to come out of it. And I truly want to help people see the light and rise up and rise above and resolve and untangle themselves from the pain and the addiction and the grief and whatever is going on in your life. My specialty is kind of, people say you should niche down, and I guess I have. I want to work with people who are suffering in pain, physical pain, emotional pain, grief, addiction, and I want to help them resolve it. So it's not as widespread as it sounds, because not everybody's in pain. Not everybody wants to resolve their pain, so people like to be in pain, and that's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. I want to work with people who are in pain. And if you're in pain, if it's keeping you up at night, what you're dealing with, and if you're ready to fix it. If you're ready to transmute above it and transmute it into passion and purpose versus letting it usurp your life. If you're ready. You have that nudge, And if and if you're ready, my one-to-one is open. It's enrolling right now, and I finally found it to be gratifying for me and for those that I serve. And I named it something that you wouldn't imagine, because it's exactly what I'm trying to help people create and cultivate into their life. And it's, honey, you can have it. You get to and you deserve to have the sweetest things in life. Working through a lot of things, one of the core beliefs that I'd been dealing with and having had it ingrained in my brain for so long was pleasure isn't possible. You don't get to have pleasure. You don't get to enjoy life. It's just this drudgery, like walking through cement. You don't get to be happy. You don't get to live life to the fullest. It's not available to you. You don't deserve that. And once I reprogrammed my brain to know, why the hell am I here if I'm just supposed to drudge through life and tolerate through life, I fixed it. I decided that's not my truth. I will not go through life and just tolerate through life. I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of my life. I'm going to have orgasmic pleasure in every area of my life and help all those that want to do the same to cultivate that in their life. So if you want to have more pleasure in your life, rise above the pain, even resolve it and heal it, whatever that pain is for you, check out the information in the comments. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. And the container I've created to cultivate that in your life is there for the asking. You just have to partake of it. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I hear my daughter coming up the stairs, which means she's hungry. So I'm going to go do that, and I hope you have a great day. And thanks for listening. Press replay and share where you think this message would be most receptive. Bye.